Hey guys, it's Kevin again. There's going to be another movie review. Now, I know I said that I wasn't really going to do a lot of movie reviews, but I figured that I had some time. I might as well watch a movie, and luckily, I was planning on seeing this movie in theaters last week and didn't get a chance to see it, and finally it leaked onto Storm, which I was very happy about, and I thought it was going to, so ultimately I was happy that I didn't see it, and the movie I'm going to be reviewing is Focus. Now, Focus was a movie that I was actually looking forward to because I thought the plot seemed interesting, and I thought just overall it seemed like a very interesting movie. And the trailers made it looked like it was gonna be Will Smith's comeback, and there were a lot of reasons why I definitely wanted to see it. It had some major potential, definitely, especially because Margot Robbie, fresh out of the Wolf of Wall Street fame and things like that. But let's just get to the plot of Focus. Now, overall, after watching Focus, what did I think of Focus? I, for the most part, really enjoyed Focus. I really did. And now, it's definitely is not a perfect movie. It has a lot of problems in the second half that I definitely do want to talk about, that it does have. It has problems in the second half. But besides those problems, excuse me guys, my phone is ringing. Besides those problems in the second half, I did really enjoy this movie, and I will get to those problems that I have. Now let's get to the basic plot of Focus, which I think is actually very interesting in my opinion. You have this man, Nicky Spurgeon, who he is conned by this girl, Jess, who he eventually realizes that she's also into conning, and he wants her to become better at it, so he teaches her to focus more on conning and to focus, how to be a better, how to do a better job with being a femme fatale and things like that. And eventually they start to develop a relationship. But the real question is, do they actually love each other, or are they actually playing each other? Now, that sounds like a very interesting concept. However, that's not what the whole movie focuses on. And I see what I did there. That was unintentional. But let's just get into what I really liked about Focus. Now, as I said, this movie does have quite a few problems, and I'll get to that first. But let's get to the strongest part of this movie. By far, the best part of this movie is the chemistry between Will Smith and Margot Robbie. Now, Will Smith, he hasn't really been having very good movies lately. I mean, he did After Earth, which was a piece of shit. I didn't see it, but from what I've seen of it, I absolutely hate it. He had a cameo in Winter's Tale, which is just beyond me how he did that. So a lot of people thought that he wasn't really going to be a good actor anymore. I have to say, this is his comeback film. He really did a very good job with this role. And one of the things I like about his role in here is that he had fun with it. You can tell that he was having a ball with this role. He didn't feel stiff. He wasn't like After Earth either, where he's just reciting lines and just felt like he was reading lines off a script. No, he really feels like he's doing a good job here. And I think the role he played was a very fun one. He didn't feel too stiff to me. And he definitely, I think with Will Smith, you have to cast him in a fun role, a role where he can joke around, because that is when Will Smith is best. I have seen him give a very good emotional performance in The Pursuit of Happiness, but even in that movie, he gets to have some fun moments. And I think Will Smith is best when he has fun with his roles, and I think he did a very good job with that. And his character is just really interesting, definitely, with it being a con man and everything. I think he did a very good job with that, and I definitely really enjoyed his character. He was really good, and his acting was definitely really good. I can definitely see him doing better movies after this. Hopefully after this, he does better movies. Margot Robbie, I've really liked her. I saw her in The Wolf of Wall Street, never really reviewed that movie, but she was great in that, and she's great in this as well. I think she did a very great job in this role. Her character is very interesting, because the whole time you don't really know if she's playing him or if she really does care about him, and I find that interesting about the movie. And I think the best part of this movie by far is their chemistry. Their chemistry just feels real. They work so great together. They really do feel like con men. I mean, some of the best moments in this movie is just seeing them con people, and have him teach her how to con people is a lot of fun to watch, and I think they did a very good job with doing that in this movie. I definitely really enjoyed their chemistry, and they were also really good. That people have been talking about is Rodrigo Santoro, who he's in the second half of the movie. He plays Garijo, who is supposedly Jess's new boyfriend because the other half of the movie does take place 3 years later, and I think he did a very good job as a villain. Definitely, I think he did well, and everyone else in the movie did a really good job. Don't really need to talk about anyone else, but everyone else in the movie did a very good job. Now, the directing to this movie, I thought was very good. They definitely set the tone they wanted to. However, the tone was a little bit all over the place. The first half was very consistent. It was a great, fun movie about, can they trust each other? It didn't get too dark. I have to say, though, in the second half, the directing kind of got a little bit all of messy, which the movie in general gets messy. I'll talk about that, but I think the directing just got a little bit messy there, and they kind of made it a little bit more dramatic, and it didn't need to be as dramatic as it was. And I think the directing, for the most part, though, was pretty good, and I didn't really have too many problems with the directing. What I do have problems with the most is the screenplay. The screenplay here is a bit all over the place, because the screenplay is actually written by the directors of this movie, which is never really a good idea. You should never really do that. The only time I can see that working is, like, Richard Linklater movies, things like that. I could see that working. Other than that, though, I don't really, Woody Allen movies, I don't see it working with just a movie like this. Now, again, the first half of the movie, it flowed really well, but a lot of people have been complaining about the second half of the movie. Now, let me say this. The second half of the movie takes place 3 years later, because basically Nikki and Jess do end up departing ways, and Nikki basically ends up meeting her again, and she says that she has this boyfriend and everything. Now, for me, the second half of the movie, yes, it needed to be in there. To complete their story, it had to be in there. It definitely did. But it does get very convoluted, and there's one scene just that completely ruined it for me, where there's one twist that's revealed. There's one twist that I really liked. Definitely, I really liked the one twist. But the other twist that they reveal, I think, is completely ridiculous and just completely out of place. And it really took away from my enjoyment of the movie. For the most part, the second half of the movie, it didn't take away from my enjoyment. I was still enjoying it because I found it interesting. Now, I will say they do a good job with the screenplay staying interesting. But the one other problem this movie has, that you don't really care about these characters. Like, you care about them, but the movie tries to get you to feel bad for them, or try to have sympathy for them, and you don't really, because they're very wooden characters. I mean, there's not much more than them just being people that con each other and not really know if they can trust each other. There's not much other depth to their story, and I would have wanted to see a little bit more with that, because I want to care more about their characters. There are some emotional scenes that work very well, but most of them don't work very well at all. I think that, in terms of emotion, this movie definitely has a lot of problems there, and that I didn't really care about them. It wasn't so much that I didn't care about them, more than I just like seeing them be conning each other and just not really knowing if they can trust each other. That's what I like seeing. I didn't really care too much about the emotional core, though. I did, however, care about their relationship, which I think is an interesting point, and I did enjoy seeing their relationship, because, you know, you don't really know what's going to happen to their relationship if they can trust each other. That's something that I definitely enjoyed. I think they did a very good job with that, and I really enjoyed that. I'd say this movie is actually very funny at points as well. There are points in this movie that had me genuinely laughing. I was surprised by how much I was laughing throughout the movie, but there are some moments that are very, very funny, and I think it really just, it works with the actors' chemistry, definitely. I think that's something that the movie definitely did a very good job with. Now, I'll talk about what the problems were when we get to spoilers, but the score to this movie, I think, is actually very interesting. It's all old, like, 50s to 70s, like, bluegrass music, and it's really, really good. I definitely really like the bluesy kind of music, and I think that it was a very good score, and it definitely set the tone of the movie very well. Definitely really enjoyed the score of this movie. The cinematography is gorgeous to this movie. Wow. Cinematography is fantastic, and just, I love the cinematography. The editing, as I said, the movie actually has a very interesting way of being edited, in that it goes from 1 year to 3 years later, and I think the editing really did work very well. The editing wasn't really a problem for me. I didn't have a problem with the editing. I didn't feel the movie was too long, because the movie's only 104 minutes, so no problem with that. It's more about the screenplay, and I'm going to get to really what my biggest gripe with the movie is, the thing that bothered me the most with this movie, the thing that I didn't like about the movie. So let's just get into spoilers, because I really want to talk about what ruined this movie for me. Not so much ruined, but just took away from my enjoyment, because for the most part, I was really enjoying it. Even in the second half, when things were a little bit slow, I was really enjoying it. That's my other thing with the movies, that sometimes this movie can be a little bit too slow. Some scenes went on for a little bit too long, and it's just like, get to the point, I understand, I just want to see these two con each other. And then the second half, I just felt like there were scenes that just dragged on, and I feel like definitely, in terms of writing, it definitely got worse in the second half. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Let's just get into spoilers. So, of course, I will say the twist that I really like is when we find out that, these are spoilers now, guys, that Jess told Nikki that, you know, Garija was her boyfriend, but then we find out that he's not actually her boyfriend, and she played him the entire time. It's a very well done scene, because, of course, we're trying to figure out, can he really trust her? And that's the moment you realize, you know what, maybe he can't trust her. That whole scene, I love that twist. That, I thought, was very well done. I really enjoyed that. Definitely. I thought that was a very good twist, and I overall really enjoyed what they did with that. I thought that was really good. What I thought was stupid is what they reveal after that. When we find out that when we find out that Owens is actually Nikki's father, Bucky, that came out of nowhere, and I didn't care, because that came out of nowhere. There was no depth to that. There was nothing hinting at that. Plus, we didn't really see much of his character, so I didn't really care much about him. And then when we had the whole thing with him being upset about Nikki because he lost focus, what do you mean he lost focus? He started a relationship with a girl, and he was doing it to get her to focus on conning, so how did he lose focus? I don't clearly understand that. There are things that happen in the movie that you don't know why they're happening, and that really is my biggest gripe there, is why exactly did that happen? Also, in the first half of the movie, when Nikki sends Jess away, I didn't understand why he did it. I really didn't. I mean, just, there are things that happen that you don't understand why they happen. They don't explain why they happen. And that's why the emotional part of the movie really does not work, because you don't really understand. There are things that happen, you don't understand why they happen, and that really definitely did bother me. But other than that, guys, I definitely really enjoyed this movie, and I would probably recommend this movie. It definitely is one of the better movies to come out in recent weeks, definitely, especially because February was such a so-so month. Definitely, this is one of the better ones. It's not as good as I want it to be. I thought this movie could have been a lot better. If they would have taken out that one twist, I would have enjoyed it a lot more than I initially did. But other than that twist, I actually really did enjoy this movie. I recommend you guys check out this movie. And if I had to grade this movie, I would definitely give it a B, because I'm not giving it a B, maybe even a B plus territory, but I definitely give it a 3.75 out of 5, because it's this close to being 4. If that twist had not been in there, I would have enjoyed the movie. As I said, if that twist wouldn't have been in there, I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more, and it just kind of took away from my overall enjoyment of the movie. But that's basically my review focus. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw of this movie. Also, guys, I forgot to talk about this. The love triangle in the movie, I did care about. I thought it was well done overall. It was just the overall outcome of it that I thought was kind of stupid. But let me know what you guys saw of this movie. If you have seen it, do you think that the second half worked? What do you think about that twist that I really had a problem with? Because I want to know people's opinion of that. And what was your overall gripes with the movie? Because I know a lot of people don't like the second half. For me, it was because there were just way too many twists in the second half, and that one just did not work at all. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be, I don't know what it's going to be. I think it's going to be for a review of The Walking Dead, tomorrow night's episode of The Walking Dead, and if it is, then I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.